Hello, everyone, and welcome to Off the Record with Judah
and Kirk.
Today, we're going to be absolutely diving into some absolute Batman.
He makes the same pun every time.
I make the same pun every time. It's what's so great about me.
Yeah.
I'm
Although
consistent.
The videos that we make absolute puns as the titles
do poorly
not do as well. So, come on, guys, puns. They're punny.
They're great, man. So, we're going to be talking about the second volume of Absolute Batman, which is issues 7 through 14, I believe.
Yes.
So, with the Mr. Freeze story and Bane story, which is together titled Abomination.
Yeah, so those are 7 and 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 9 through 14 is
9 through
kind of the main...
The main...
Yeah, okay.
It's like we had an appetizer with the Mr. Freeze stuff. And then Bane, I mean, look how big he is. He is the full 4-course meal.
He's the biggest and the baddest.
He is,
and the largest.
He's the largest. He is. He is the largest. It's definitive. But overall thoughts before we dive into the story, Kirk, what'd you think of this?
I thought it was great. Not maybe quite as good as Volume 1 was. We didn't get him punting a child off a boat, so, it can only be so good.
Going downhill after that peaked.
Right, exactly. But there were still definitely some really highlight moments in this, especially, I think, a lot of, background story of Bane is where this story shone.
Yes.
Shined? A lot. But yeah, overall, really good. Just maybe a couple of notches below Volume 1. Relative to the rest of the Absolute Universe as well. Obviously not as good as Absolute Wonder Woman has been because those are the highest rankings, but it is up there as well.
I personally think this is okay because I don't think you've heard my thoughts about this at all.
Not really, no.
I think it continues its peak with the Mr. Freeze story.
Yes.
And I don't really like the Bane story.
The Mr. Freeze part was the better part.
That's true.
I do have some problems with the Bane stuff,
yes.
But also I still think he's a really great character.
I think I'm disappointed with the way they did Absolute Bane. I think, and we'll dig into this more as we dig into the story, I think he's exactly the same as the main universe Bane. There's so many... And even going forward and in the annuals and other stories and stuff, we've seen so many villains, and they're so unique and different that Bane was just disappointing to me as not only just a character, but also I wasn't exactly... I was confused, and then I was kind of not really invested in the Bane narrative after a certain point. There were some parts of it that I was, all in on, right? But there's also the majority of it, which I was out on. Mm-hmm. And they've done wonders bringing me back into the series, but I kind of thought that overall, if we're combining all these issues, it goes from being absolute peak to being really mid. Mm-hmm. That's my personal take.
Yeah, the Bane stuff did fall off for me as well. I didn't care as much about it towards the end. So I agree with you in that regard. I think one of your complaints was that it's very similar to main universe Bane. I actually don't really know anything about Bane.
Yeah, and that's fair.
So this is basically a new character for me, right?
Yeah.
So for me, looking at this, I'm not, saying, oh, this is too much like the original. I want to see something new. This is new to me. Right?
Yeah. That's fair. And that's a lot of people because this has gotten massive exposure, and it is consistently, I think, the #1 comic on the stands every month. Over 500,000 copies sold. It's popular. But it also, the direction I would have taken it, as a writer myself, is not the direction that it's not the direction I expected it to go in, I guess, is the best way to put it, in some ways. Mm-hmm. But digging into the narrative, Mr. Freeze, it's an interesting issue we got starting with issue 7. So we open on Freeze and his parents. I think that we find that out later. As a kid, and we get to see them, and they're exploring in the Arctic. So that's where we open with this issue. And then we cut to Bruce, and he's talking to his informant. You remember his informant's name? His friend, Mattis Malone, who is a interesting reference to the main universe, because in the main universe, Mattress Malone is not a person. Mattress Malone is someone that Bruce Wayne pretends to be for a decent period of time. Yeah. So, like, he pretends to be the criminal Mattress Malone. He's like a low-life slum guy so he can get information. So, them making Mattress Malone a character is interesting. And he's not exactly here for very long, as his face, as he was about to reveal some stuff about Arkham, which we've been hinting at in the background of the last story arc, his face explodes, which is
that's right. I remember
so lovingly.
This was like when they were out on the pier.
Yeah, when they're out on the pier. Yeah, his face explodes, which is so lovely. It's like it's excellently illustrated.
And by that you mean horrifically? Yeah,
horrifically illustrated by Marcos Martin, who does a fantastic job for the Mr. Freeze story, which is 7 and 8. All of this is written by Scott Snyder. We will mention the artists when the art changes. So Marcus Martin does a fantastic job here. But then we get Batman following up on the information that he gets from Matches with the help of Alfred. We do get a little bit of conflict with his friend group as, they find out he's Batman. Like, they're like, the Matches thing happens and they're giving him pushback. Like, hey, this is almost your fault. Like, this is dangerous.
Yeah. Be
careful. Like, we care about you, but also don't drag us into the shit with you.
I also really liked the writing around the reveal of this conversation being like with Bruce.
Yeah.
Where they're like talking about Matches and their history as like their friend group.
Yeah.
And all that, and they're like hitting these matches, which was like the game they would play to like drawing straws basically.
Yeah.
So
it is fantastic. It's excellently written there. It
was great.
And then we get Bruce breaking into Arkham and seeing a lot of interesting frozen things, and then he's confronted by the scientist.
I don't believe he broke into Arkham. I believe he broke into a building in the downtown that was drawing more power than everything else.
Hold on. No, I'm pretty sure.
That's how I read it, at least.
Because the information that Matches gives him is talked about before. He's talking about Arkham.
I thought the Matches stuff was like the stuff that gets picked up on eventually when we get into kind of the main part of the volume with Bane, rather than that being this.
It does. I mean, it's
because if you look at the exterior shots, essentially, it seems like he's in the just downtown Gotham.
That's true. You're right. I am misremembering this. He has read this more recently than I have.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, he breaks into this facility, drawing more power. He runs into Victor Freeze, who just seems like a normal, very chill guy.
Yeah.
Until he doesn't. And he shows his parents, who are frozen. And then he begins to kind of give us more details about his backstory. And then he turns into something out of a horror movie.
Frost demon monster.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. And
we continue on in the next issue, and Mr. Freeze is rather haunting. We get an excellent battle between, I guess he's got freeze powers, but he's also like, I feel like his limbs got longer. Like, it's like freaky.
Yeah.
I don't know. He seems to stretch a little bit. But we get this excellently drawn, again, Marcos Martin fight, which is good. Yeah. And then Bruce is seemingly captured, and he tries to freeze him, which does not work.
One of these, like, big cryo chamber vats.
Yeah. And then he escapes, and then we get their second confrontation.
Because we got something was mentioned early on that Bruce decided against Alfred's wishes, I believe, to not have any of his like stuff on him.
Yeah.
He was like, well, but I have this cast right here, and like I could use that to hide some weaponry.
Yeah.
And so it actually works though.
It does.
In this, where while he's stuck in this chamber, he's trying to use the cast to launch some absolute batarangs into the
Absolutely.
vents.
Yeah. And it works, and he gets out, and he gets dressed, and he flamethrowers Mr. Freeze in the face, which is great. I am a big fan of his flamethrower. And yeah, they have a confrontation. There's a bunch of like freeze demons that are released that he defeats and takes down.
And at this point, he's fully suited up.
He's fully suited up, and then he breaks out of the building, and then he's like, Freeze is gone. We don't know what happened to him. And then we cut to Waylon, who is leaving the friends who were they graffitied. Is that a word? The mural of matches, and they were burning their matches. And then Waylon walks home and gets kidnapped, which leads us into our second villain-focused story, which I'm going to let Kirk take the lead on summarizing. So, you remember what happens, Kirk?
Yeah. So, very first thing we see, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, is Bane interrupts some conversation between two world leaders negotiating peace. I don't remember where this is supposed to be. Either, some random island nations or the Middle East, I feel like, are kind of the two places that could be. But they're actually about to have peace, or maybe sub-Saharan Africa, but I don't remember. They are negotiating peace, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be awesome. We can finally have peace. And then Bane walks in, and he's like, all right, so my employers don't exactly make a lot of money off of peace. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to kill one of you, and the other of you is going to say that you killed him because he was going to attack you first. Yes. And now you're going to restart the war, and there's going to be no peace. And, do we have any takers of who wants to die?
Yes.
And so that happens. That's great. He gets called in, though, by his employers / enslavers to Gotham. I forgot the name of the city for a second.
Yeah.
So,
and then we get a beautiful title card with our story name, which is Abomination. And the art has changed over starting with this issue 9. So we have Nick Dragotta back on art, who is
9 through 14.
Yeah, fantastic the entire time.
Yeah.
Continue.
And so we get a couple of, it might have been the full issue remaining was about Batman breaking into this underground city he finds. He's just trying to get into Arkham, right? And that's why I was confused before, because he hadn't broken in yet. So this is him actually trying to break into Arkham. And would it be Arkham or Arkham? Because it's...
I say Arkham because they make the distinction of not having it be one word.
Okay. So Arkham is... he's going underwater to try to get in underneath it and then break in. And he goes way too deep. And so Alfred's like, hey, you're nowhere even near where you're supposed to be going. And then Batman kind of calls back in and he's like, but I still found something. And then we get the reveal that there's just this massive complex cityscape going all underground underneath Arkham, as well as underneath the entire city. And it's just this giant landscape. And so he goes down in there, and a couple things happen. Don't remember exactly, but he gets captured while he's down there.
So he runs into a skeleton of what I can only presume was a man-bat, what she sees when he enters one of the facilities. And then he runs into our homeboy, Bane. Yeah, who is... he's decently large.
Yes, at this point.
At this point, he's big.
Yeah.
He's the size of a train, and he gets bigger.
Yeah. And that's part of the plot is this Venom stuff that he's being injected with, and that's being pumped throughout his whole body. He can at will pump even more of this stuff into him, and it increases his size a bunch until, slight spoilers, but at the very end he's giant. He is in a stadium, and we just kind of barely see over the crest of the stadium, and he's right there, right? So this stuff can do some wonders, and by wonders I mean horrors.
Yes.
So we then, I believe at this point we're into the next issue, and we have excuse me.
You're excused.
Wow.
I excuse you.
We have a bit of backstory for Bane, as well as kind of intermixed with some escape attempts from Batman. I thought that the backstory stuff with Bane was really cool. I think we get a couple of pages straight of just like, he's from an island, and this island has changed hands multiple times throughout the years, whether it's, the French or the English or whoever else, right? And this kind of group of freedom fighters are trying to take the island back, whoever it may be. They just want the island to be theirs. And so at some point, though, they all get captured and they just get thrown into a prison underground that like the tides can come in and out of, and so they're like constantly having to like gasp for breath at the top of this cage, and they're in there for a little over a decade, I believe. And this little kid, basically, of Bane that's down there grows up in the cage. And eventually they have an escape attempt, and right as they leave, or like right after they escape, they swim across to some shore, and they just see this guy there with a helicopter and just some ladies, and says something. The guy from the helicopter says something.
He said, "I have an offer for you."
Yeah, I have an offer. We don't hear exactly what it all was, though we can infer. And he turns around and he cracks his father's back, and kills him. And then we don't really get much else from that.
Yeah, we get a few cuts of him just murdering people. And then we're kind of focused back on Batman.
Yeah, but the point is, the receiving end of that offer is that his island nation will be free. Finally, and so he gives himself up to this entity to
JK, as we have at this point only referred to him.
Yes, and then kind of intermixed with some of that, we're also getting some escape attempts from Batman, Bruce, that are not very successful, but show off his kind of creativity, and where we see later Alfred says, like, it's like he was made for this. And so a lot of those were really cool until we get...
He gets defeated and he gets cut open and put the venom in him.
Yes. And so now he's being kind of enhanced by this. And that's where this... whichever issue we're on right now ends.
Well, almost. It ends. It gets enhanced, and in the last couple pages, he puts a spat suit back on, breaks out, finds Waylon, and then him and Waylon are like,
"Yes,
we're about to be free."
They're telling him like, "Here's your last escape attempt right here. You can take your suit and everything. We've enhanced you. Now go. Try to get out of here." And
then we get the confusing issue.
Yes. So at the at the end of last issue, we got Waylon as a crocodile, helping him defeat Bane, and then
quotation marks
leave into the sewers, right? But then we pick up this issue, and that's not really what's going on here. We get a lot of narration from Alfred, and at a certain point, there's a lot of things like, this is what's been going on in Gotham. And then in the middle of the issue, it's Batman back in custody.
And he's fighting Bane, and then he loses, and then fun stuff happens to his body. And they turn him into their own little creation. Yeah, their own little guy. But then we cut back to reality
with the starting frame of the next issue is exactly where we left off at the end of the previous issue.
Yeah, well, I mean,
of him in the sewers.
In the end of this issue, like the last page comes back to reality because it's Bane hovering over the friends, right?
Yeah.
So
and then in the next issue we see what happened there.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, but it's just like half of this issue didn't even happen. Like, I was reading it and I was just confused. I guess when I first got into it, I didn't quite pick up on the fact that, wait, he escaped at the end there. Like, I thought, at the end there he almost escaped, but then when we didn't see it, he's captured again, and now we're like restarting the cycle again. Yeah. And then I was kind of thinking that this was all real until then we cut back to they're in the sewers.
Yeah.
And he has escaped. And I'm just like...
It's confusing.
What? And so now I know, because I went over this with Judah just before we started recording, now I know that none of that even actually happened, and I'm confused why it needed to be included. It, I suppose, could have been cool if the reader actually knew what was going on.
Yes.
And if there were a reason for it, too, of like...
It didn't seem to be.
This is who Alfred thinks that Bane is, and like this is how strong he thinks he is, and then that can set up some like further stakes maybe going forward.
I think in that there are some parallels to the Bane story we get. And I think it's Alfred trying to draw, like, hey, he is like Bane. Yeah. Like, if something were to befall him, he would be like Bane.
Yeah, because that's an important point. The scientists in this facility have been saying, like, we basically need somebody that's just like Bane to be able to take these injections and have the venom and be able to do all the same things but better.
Yeah.
You can't just get any schmo off the street, which they've been trying to. He's number 27.
Yeah.
And so it is important that Bruce be similar to Bane in that regard. But it just seemed like...
confusing the way it was done.
It didn't get set up well. It didn't even get concluded well. They just kind of erased it.
Yeah.
And nothing came of it.
Yes. And then, next issue, we get them in the sewers. Waylon and Bruce both collapse. Alfred comes to get Bruce. And then we get a little flashback to Selina, which we've been getting intermittently throughout all these fantastic issues, which are all very romantic. And she's not here right now, so clearly something happened. And then we get, it's been 20 days, and shit went down when he was out. Mainly being all of his friends had terrible injuries. So, yeah.
And that's where we left with the only real thing really that happened in the previous issue was that at the very ending frame was Bane hovering over all his friends.
Yes.
And about to beat them.
Yeah,
horrifically.
Well, he did in fact do that.
Yeah. And this is where we get some introductions to some familiar faces of the two that I remember are the Question or sorry, Riddler. Riddler? Yeah. Same thing.
No,
the Riddler.
Very much not.
The Riddler and also Two-Face.
Two-Face, and the one that stuck in my brain and gives me nightmares is when they show Penguin.
Okay, I was thinking if that would have been Penguin.
Yeah, he crushes all the bones in his body, and he's like now.
Because I remember one line was like, he's probably going to be like 2 feet shorter whenever he heals. Yeah. So that's the only thing I was thinking that could be Penguin, but I don't know enough about DC. So
yeah, no, that's Penguin. We get Two-Face. We get Riddler. Yeah. It's brutal.
And he only had the 3 friends. I mean, I guess there is Waylon.
There's Waylon.
And then there is technically, as we're getting into this issue, there's also Catwoman.
But
so
those are the 3 friends that stuff befalls.
Yes.
And Bruce is back with Alfred, and they have an intruder. And that appears to be everybody's favorite, I guess. Absolute Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also am not a fan of Absolute Catwoman for similar reasons that I am not a fan of Absolute Bane, because the differences don't exist really. Like, this is just exactly the same character.
And there's also just kind of, and that I actually do know, but there's also just not much to it. Like, she's just kind of love interest, kind of like, there's a little bit of like, which camp is he gonna fall under with Catwoman versus Selina, right? Selina versus Alfred, like who's he gonna more follow, and like the advice realm, and there's a little bit of that, and it's kind of tied into within, I think, a little bit in this issue as well as next issue. There's a lot of callbacks to an event where one of their friends was it Waylon? Trying to box.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's Waylon.
So we have a couple of flashback moments to that, and so cool. There's some of that going on where it's like, who is going to be in Bruce's corner? Who is he going to allow to be in his corner? Is it going to be the advice from Alfred or Selina?
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. There's some of that, and I like Alfred as a character, and so kind of brings up the Selina points a little bit, but then she's also just kind of there. They
have coitus. They have sex. That's literally what happens, and then they meet Harley Quinn and the Red Hoods.
Yes.
And then that's kind of the issue.
Yeah.
Like, and we kind of get them preparing for the final showdown at the end.
Yeah.
But
and I did think that there was a cool moment in there of him realizing, like, oh, he's still juiced.
Yeah.
But he being Batman is still juiced. That is an important note that comes up for the next issue as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which we'll get into right now.
Yeah. So last issue. It's pretty great. We get some flashbacks to all the things that his friends have told him over time in the series and their current states of being as Alfred talks to him before he does some more juicing. And he looks fantastic when he's juiced.
Mm-hmm.
And then he calls out to Bane to meet him in an arena. And Bane does.
Yeah. Hijacks all airwaves to send that message out.
He does.
And also announces to the city that there's a bunch of monsters hiding under the city that the city government has.
Which is great. I love the bit of like the mayor having to deal with that.
Yeah.
Which is really fun.
A little bit of a side thing going on, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah. And then we get parallels between Bruce walking out to Bane and Waylon walking out for his boxing match.
Yeah.
And we get this insane, very excellently drawn, epic showdown.
Yeah.
The Red Hoods help out. Catwoman helps out. Waylon shows back up as Killer Croc to help out.
Mm-hmm. And oh my gosh, was that really cool when Waylon showed up? It was like he's just like wrapping around him and like sawing into his body with his like razor teeth. Like that was really freaking cool. As well as another moment that was really cool was it didn't happen very much during this issue, and it is actually this volume, and it is mentioned as to why. It's because Bruce is not currently working as a construction worker in the city, so he's not exactly setting up a bunch of traps and different things throughout the city like he had in the past, where we saw when he was cornered in volume 1, he like took an elevator in a random building and boom, it's his dump truck Batmobile, right, built into the structure, right? But in this volume we get less of that. So one cool piece that we still did get with that is in the arena. I believe it's part of the arena itself, although I suppose it could be a nearby skyscraper.
I'm pretty sure it's the arena.
Yeah. He set up some explosive charges and collapses the entire structure on top of Bane. Yeah. And that was really cool. And important because he needed to immediately... Part of the plan is having Bane's Venom. Words are hard, guys. Having Bane's Venom kind of run out before he, massive quotes here, is going to use his own Venom to finally beat him, right? Yes. And so immediately they need to get him using this juice, and so dropping
they pump him full, and he kablooies.
Yeah, well, but early on, they're just trying to like get him rage mode, right? And so dropping a building on him
is part of that.
Kind of a good way to do it, like right off the bat.
I mean, I'd be mad if you dropped a building on me.
And then, of course, he's getting sawn into by Croc. He's about to like rip Croc in half from the jaw. Yeah. Fortunately, that doesn't happen because Croc is awesome. And Batman uses his axe to slice right into his spine. Mm-hmm. And he says something about how like, oh, now you can't use your arms. Which is a moment that happened in their first encounter, I believe, when Batman first gets captured. He's like Bane is analyzing all the different martial art forms that Batman is using, and then slowly like taking away the ability for him to like use his one arm, then his other arm, and then his one leg. And so kind of take that, you did it to me, I'm going to do it to you thing. Yeah. And then that's when, at that point, he's like real mad, Bane is. And he gets into this giant hulking form, even more so than before. And that's where kind of the main part of this story goes down with Catwoman. Judah.
Yeah, and pumps Bane full of juice and kablooey.
Venom, yeah. So
it's juice.
Yeah,
he's juiced up.
Yeah,
they're juiced,
but they call it Venom in this.
Venom.
So yeah, where we thought the whole time, following more Alfred's advice, is just use the Venom. Follow this plan, get him to wear himself out with the Venom, and then use your own Venom while he's worn out, and doesn't have his own Venom to use, and then you beat him. That's Alfred's kind of plan with that. And that's where we think that it's going the whole time, and that he's rejected Selina, and so she's left. But then at the very end, she comes in and shoots the Bane through with more of this Venom, and then we get a quick shot of flashback where they're pulling all of this Venom out of Alfred, right?
Or Bruce.
Sorry.
Pulling all the Venom out of Bruce.
And so we kind of learn more followed Selina's advice with that than Alfred's advice with that, and it blows up Bane, though does not kill him.
It does not kill him.
We get a weird shot of Batman with his bat truck just dumping his flesh into the ocean, which I feel like there are better places you could put that.
Yeah.
Like the ground.
I mean, people put car batteries in the ocean, so,
Yeah, but I also get a lot of my water from the ocean.
Yeah.
So.
It's not great.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not directly, but still, eventually.
Yeah.
So, kind of gross, disgusting. But then also, it gives the bad organization the ability to find him again and potentially heal him up.
Yeah, it does.
Which they do. They get his brain.
They do.
And his brain stem and his eyeballs in a tank, and he survives. And then right at the very end, whoever the boss is, it's JK, right?
It's Joker. It's Joker. Let's cut all.
Well, actually, yeah, right here it says JKR. So, JKR, whoever that could possibly be.
I have no idea.
Calls into him while he's this weird, like, gooey brain eye form thing. And he's like, hey, I realize, this isn't ideal. Like, you wanted to retire and, like, Batman was going to take your place and you wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. But, like, I know you don't actually want to do that. Like, what are you going to do? Have a family and sip Mai Tais on the beach? That's boring. I know that you live for fighting. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to nuke your island. The entire point of you joining me in the first place was so that your island could be free. Well, I'm just going to nuke your island, probably. I mean, it's not really a nuke, but
the bomb. I'm
going to nuke your island, and you're going to watch it, and you're going to work for me forever now. And then it ends.
Yes. So that was the story. I did not like the Bane part. I'll be genuine. Like, of the things we've read, it's still close to the top. I don't think it's even as good as, like, the first Absolute Flash volume.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And maybe, like, I would at the time it's releasing, I was reading, like, lots of things were hitting their peak at the time. Like, we were in the middle of that second Absolute Wonder Woman arc. It was great. Superman arc at that point, Legion of Darkseid, excellent. We hit in with DCKO, and lots of DCKO tie-ins started, and they started off, most of them all started really great, except for the Titans one. The Titans are terrible. I don't know what's going on with that side of DC right now. It's terrible. And then this was just like I was really loved the Mr. Freeze stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, this is like mid. Like, this is like this reminded me of, you've never read Scott Snyder's main universe Batman. Okay. So there's a point in his run where there's a story that's told and it's just like, Like, every other story that he writes is, like, iconic. And then there's that one. And no one, like, talks about that. It's like, it exists. We didn't like it. So we just, like, moved past it. And now, to be fair, Absolute Batman, to this point, has won me back. But I really did not like this arc. Like, I thought this was not great. And your thoughts?
I did think it was great. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't like it as much. Maybe not that you didn't like it as much as I did, but I wouldn't have expected you to put it that low on the rankings. Again, to be fair, there are a lot of other really, really good things, especially with Absolute and DCKO going on, that are better than this. Like, the DCKO event is better than this.
That's true.
The Absolute Wonder Woman, as we talked about, Volume 1 is the best thing. Volume 2 is the next best thing, basically.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Right? So there are a lot of really cool things going on. I would put this above Absolute Flash. And I liked Absolute Flash. You can go back and watch our video on that. I think I liked it more than you did, Judah.
Yeah.
And so I like this more than that. I thought it was really interesting. Again, I don't know much about Bane, so I don't have that kind of comparison.
Yeah.
I know a little bit more about Catwoman, but also not that much.
Yeah.
So I did kind of pick up on, like, this is just Catwoman being Catwoman, but, like, beyond that, that was, you know, I didn't think much of it. I just thought it was a good story. You are definitely right that the freeze stuff was the better part of this. Like, that was really cool. I wanted to see so much more of that. When it ended at 2 issues, I was just like,
what?
Why? Like, can we continue this? Like, the Bane stuff, not bad. That can be volume 3. Let's just do the freeze stuff. It's good. It's so good. We need to come back to that because it is really good.
I think they definitely are. Like, dude, the stuff that's going on right now is insane. And you would have never guessed the direction they go in next. Like, you have, like, even if you read the next issue, issue 15, you have no idea what they're doing right now.
For the record, whenever we have recorded a comic issue or volume, or, well, I guess there have been a few issues, but whenever we do something comics related, I basically read those comics leading up to the episode that we release and not much else. I'm doing some slight side comic readings on my own.
I'm trying to get him to read more.
Yes, and I did even ask you for some specific things that you had in your collection to just bring over because I wanted to read some of them. So I am getting a little bit more and more into just comic reading. But for the most part, the only comics I've read, and definitely the only absolute universe stuff I've read, is what we have covered so far.
That's true.
So I know what has been covered on this podcast. Judah knows much, much more. Judah basically keeps up to date with it. When something releases, more or less, he's reading it.
Yeah, this is accurate.
So
my knowledge is vast, and it's becoming.
I have a lot less comparison points. Is the point?
Kirk is getting up to date faster than I am probably with Star Trek, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
but at the same time, we're still at the same kind of levels.
Which reminds me, first of all, that we are going to be covering, instead of Starfleet Academy, which we skipped this week and just didn't have a video because it was horrible, we'll do a season recap as well as specific 7, 8, 9, 10 recap at the end, but we're not talking about it 4 times between now and then. So instead, next week during that time slot, we will actually be covering some more Star Trek. We will watch the motion picture.
Yes.
From the 60s? Something like that.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun time.
But the first movie, it's going to be great. I've seen some of it, but I haven't seen the whole thing. So this will be a lot of fun.
To dive in together.
And Gabe will be available. Unfortunately, he wasn't for this, but he will be available for that. And we will dive into some more Star Trek stuff that's more varied as well as older, and so better.
Yeah, and
older is not necessarily better, but when it's Star Trek, it is.
True. And we are about to start diving in on some more classic things for DC as well. And maybe Marvel.
And Marvel. One of the next biggest things that we're covering is going to be What If Volume 1. So
the original What If series from 70s?
Something like that. Yeah, so we're getting into a lot of older things too because a lot of older things are just better.
It's true.
Excited for that. Also, the second thing that I am reminded of now is that we are nearly 40 minutes into this video and at the end of the video. And I have forgot to remind you all, not that you need reminding, of course, to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Off the Record JK on Instagram, and did I say leave a comment? Because you should leave a comment.
Down below with your thoughts if you disagree with either of us. And you think this is like piece de resistance to the best thing that you've ever read.
Who do you agree with more, me or Judah? Because I like it a lot more. He doesn't like it a lot more.
I actually, for a minute there, I thought it was garbage. Like, I'm not even joking. Which, like, I hate
there are some moments in there, again, like the whole Alfred narrating something that didn't happen thing is like, it was unnecessary. It totally ruined the flow of it. It just made me confused. Take that out. This is a full point higher, which reminds me we should do some points as well.
Oh, yeah.
What do you rate it out of 10?
So, overall, like, the Mr. Freeze bit is 9 out of 10. The Abomination bit alone is probably like 5 out of 10 for me. Okay. But being generous and averaging it, even though there's more Abomination issues than there are Mr. Freeze issues, 7 out of 10. Like,
okay. I would give, I agree, 9 for Freeze. I would say 5 is low, man. I would give it... I mean, my first thought was 8.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like given your 5 that might be just hot, like way too high, but that was my first thought is 8, and so my average would be
8.5.
About 8.5. I'll give it a weighted average. There were 2 issues and 4 issues, so this is like an 8.3 ish out of 10. If I give it a weighted average,
still that's a lot higher than 7.
It's a lot,
and 7 is me being generous.
Yeah. So, who do you agree with more? Let us know.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Good morning, good evening, or good night, and a special shout out if you're drinking a Coca-Cola right now, because I'm doing this now. I'm shouting out. If you're drinking a specific beverage, you get a shout out.
I will be giving the shout out for the next episode, so stay tuned for that.
All right. With that being said, God bless. Goodbye.
Bye.